Hello and welcome to the next episode. This is our series which is all about this Lego room and of course my life. Now this is part number 2 of the special edition upload, all relating to Batman and Gotham City, because we are getting closer and closer to the release date of that beautiful looking artwork. So we are getting ready for that. But before we carry on with that, how did this series all come about? Well, basically, the disaster series started with a massive hole in the floor. All the tables ended up getting stacked. We started to put bits and pieces back. Then there was a leak. Then we painted everything. Then I did a live with Jay's Toy Collection UK, which I'm never going to let that down, because I climbed on a table, smashed the table in half, lost every single Ninjago city that I own, which was the docks, the city, and the gardens. So I now have a little bit more space here, and now we're stood where we're at, and this is all getting ready, like I said, for the new Gotham set. So with that being said, these are the bits and pieces that within this upload, which will be a week for me and one potentially long episode for you, we've got to get all of these placed, because all of this got pulled out from here. So everything on the top shelf in the last upload got moved, so we've added in over in that corner. If I sort the lighting back out, we have got all of that. So we've got the Snow White, that is ready to be finished, and it's just a little bit of repair work. And then we added in all of those little bits and pieces over there, which I think do look very, very good. And then minus this bit in the middle, that'll all be coming out, and all of this will be nice and tidy. And we started to put all the row plates and everything down, so we will be continuing with that within this upload. But painting, we finished on a bit of a horrible cliffhanger in the last upload, because it was basically bleeding. The wall was running really, really badly. So I then, when I finished the upload, put another coat of paint on, which would have been a day or two ago. This is what it currently looks like. So it is getting better, and it's getting there. And obviously you can imagine the new artwork will be nice and high up, and then we're going to have Gotham City underneath it. I do want to speak to you guys and girls about trying to maybe add in a train track, get one of the train stations in. We've got some sets to try and find. A lot of homework to do, but I need, in today's upload for you, which is my week, that has to be finished and painted. Gotham all needs to be done. And Kallax has to be built and put underneath there, which in a normal world would be easy, but I've got to build it in a space which is about the width of a Kallax, unless I try and clear some more space, which is going to be harder said than done. And then on this side, we will be messing around ever so slightly with regards to placing the Rivendell in a little bit of a better position. We will be doing the Harry Potter. Now the Harry Potter can't move until the Star Wars stuff moves, and that Star Wars stuff is going to be going on to the Kallax. So we've got lots and lots of stuff to chop and change, and then when all of this starts to move, we can then bring over the Jurassic Park, which is that bit over there, and the He-Man Castle. So we've got some exciting stuff to happen in this one. We made some really good progress in the last upload with regards to getting all of this done, because the Daily Bugle was up at the top where the Disney Castle was. Like I said, we've got all the road plates and everything going around. The bank is going into Gotham, but obviously I've had to pull all that out because the paint is currently drying, and we've got to get all of these smaller sets placed, and then I'll try and get some more base plates wrapped around that. So by the time this is finished, every single table will be in the correct place, and we'll be ready to start making some displays in the lives. He says, all going well. But I think the best thing for me to do is quickly get changed and just crack on and get another coat of paint on that very, very quickly. I'm not going to bore you with a time lapse with that again, because you've already seen me do it with a paintbrush and it was disastrous. Then the fun begins. I've got to get a Kallax in a box up this loft ladder hatch, which is basically going to be impossible because that green one I couldn't physically stand up because it's just too tall. It's very deceiving, this roof. And then underneath this bit goes. So I'm going to have to tidy up a little bit of space on here, because we've got all of the ships and everything that are also going to go down there in our sort of cosmic area. So it's all going to be Star Wars and like the Marvel space stuff. So I'm going to have to use these tables as a dumping table to start with. You can see how this is going to get messy. We didn't smash anything in the last upload, but I'm pretty confident we will in this one. So stick around, because we've got a lot to get through. So that is done. That is technically the third coat on. So that's hopefully how it will be. It's a nice colour. It's like a Superman red cape. Just be interesting to see how dark it dries this time round. Obviously then I've got to climb up, which is going to be fun, because I've got to climb on top of 2 different types of Kallax, or IKEA, shall I say, table. You've got an IKEA table there, which is the thing I snapped in half. And then we've got a Kallax, and I need to get up there with a paintbrush because, well, I don't want to get red all over the roof rather than doing it with a roller. I'm too lazy to mask it. So I'm going to wait until that goes off, which will be a couple of days, but a little while for you. And then we can carry on with that because obviously I can't put Gotham until it's dry because I'm going to have to keep taking it off. And of course, I've got paint all over that green Kallax, so I need to clean it all up. Now, running back through the bits and pieces, with regards to this kind of stuff, we added all of this in. So this is the kind of detail that we started to add in. You can see you've got all these little bits and pieces. And again, you have got the Doctor Strange at the back, and we're going to get some of the road plates and everything in on there. And then we've got to think of the other bits that we are going to be adding over to this side. So what I need to do is I need to grab myself some rocket fuel. And then I'm going to put you as a time lapse. I'm going to put you up at the top on that shelf. So you'd be looking at that red paint dry, which would be nice and exciting for you. As I start swearing to myself, trying to get the Kallax up and built in a very, very tight space. And then is actually, I've got to somehow swing it. Now I've got a bad feeling I might have to build it in the exact position it's going in, which is going to be even harder because I think the width of the Kallax, I have about a finger's width to the table, to the thing that's behind it. So to get those bits and pieces in is going to be an absolute pig. But once it's done, it's going to free up a serious amount of space. You're going to see me running around like a headless chicken for a little bit. And then we'll catch back up and see exactly what it's all looking like. But hopefully this goes to plan. If not, what's going to fall off? I could knock the Daily Bugle, I could knock the Avengers Tower, the Jazz Club can go flying, everything underneath that table obviously now has to move because I put it out there out the way because we moved all of the stuff there ready. So yeah, it's going to be emotional, but I've got to get it done. So that's the easy bit done. I've made some sort of space. I have absolutely no idea if it's going to fit. And I'm not even going to get the tape measure out because if it doesn't work there, I'll figure out where else it can go. But hopefully it will do. It's a 4 cube. So I think we can get quite a nice display out of it, hopefully. And if that works, we then might be able to get, I think they do a 2. So we might be able to get like a 2 and a 1 configuration and start making like a display underneath this wooden table. It will be very, very interesting to see how this goes. So you will be going to another time lapse in a second. I'll put you on the other side of the room so you can see. Actually, no, I'll keep you there so you'll be able to see me crying as I bring it up the loft ladders. It's a big old box, and I've got to somehow get it. I've got to get the box open, carry the pieces. I've got to bring it up, get the box open, obviously, and then get the pieces out without hitting anything, and then putting it in the right place. And once the base is down, we should be good. But it's just getting that base out. And if you wonder why I'm a bit panicky, I got this Kallax when I got the other Kallax, and the other Kallax, for some reason, all the pins snapped on it when I turned it over. So I won't be doing that today. So yes, wish me luck, but that is where its new home's going to be. Never easy, always a challenge when you've built like 400 of these in the past, and for some reason now they are a twisting screw, which means it's an absolute pain in the backside when it's laid on its side, because you cannot push these in. So I knew what was coming, so I just ended up hitting it with the back of a screwdriver and a hammer. You're not supposed to do it that way, but they never ever fit properly, so just hit, twist, done, and it takes some of the wobble out, so now they won't fall out. So they should be stronger than the dowels, so they're not going to snap when you twist them over. So I understand why they do that, but they are a bit more of a pain in the backside to put together. But I prefer the sturdiness, so out of the two, I do prefer the screw. So I've just got to put the top on, slide that in, get the other bit in, and then we should be good to go. It does fit, but it was a bit of a struggle getting it back out again, and I'm just hoping now it's together, because we've got that extra bit of what is going to be the height, which is the width of this, it should slot straight back in. So wish me luck with that, because there will be some sort of tears as this slides in, but I need to get the tops on first. I tell you what, I'm glad that was a time lapse, because the language that was used, that definitely would have been unusable. Now, story of my life, disaster series, this is what it's all about. There is a knob, right? A handle or knob just here. Now, every single twisty doodah in the world, it should just twist off. There's a screw on the inside holding that on. All I need to do is get this thing off, and then I've got enough room to get it back into the slot. Why, oh why, look at the state of this. All of this. Box is split for that massive Technic set, so now all the bags are on the floor. That's how easy and quickly it goes wrong. Simple as that. But I think it is going to look quite good. So I think I'm just going to get a massive hammer and smash that off, because that's really annoying me. I've got a screwdriver there. If I can't open up the drawer enough, I'm afraid I'm going to do a Jeremy Clarkson. If in doubt, hit it with a hammer. Everything is solvable with a hammer hit. Then I'll have a cry, grab some chocolate, probably sob a little bit more, and then I'll catch back up with you guys and girls with regards to what the plan is on this. But looking at that in the background, that is starting, that's how long I've been up here, that is starting to dry quite a nice colour. It does look a little bit dark, but I've got the lights facing this way so I can see what I'm doing. I do need a little bit of better lighting up here, to be honest. But once the DIY destruction has been sorted, we can then finally start moving some Lego sets. Right, it is finally in. All 4 cubes are done, and I've just darkened off the backdrop as well, so that looked quite nice. I just need to hide the rest of these old VHS tapes. Look, so you've got the original Rockies 1 to 5, the original Mean Machine, Thomas the Tank Engine, check that out. And then you've got all of the Clarkson bits and pieces as well. So there's all sorts of different bits and pieces in there. Old school VHS tapes, which are never going to be watched again. But I'm not going to throw them away, because we just don't, do we? That can just stay there for now, and that can be a if I ever find them again problem. So the next thing I need to do now is obviously tidy everything up. I cried once, I'll cry again. I am going to grab some chocolate, rocket fuel and all that kind of stuff, so I could just give myself a bit of a boost to carry on and get going. But today has been a long day already. Like I said, Star Wars stuff is going to go down there. It is a nice thing, that actually. I am hoping that potentially we could get another smaller one in there, because I was thinking maybe we could just come off the top, so we'd lose a cube but have 2 cubes here. And then we've got the top. Oh God, you're close. We've got the top there. So I'm looking and moving my arm at the same time. So that's the top. There's the top. That's nice and simple. And then potentially can carry on coming underneath those tables at a later date, which obviously do need to get tidied up. But like I keep saying, once the Ninjago stuff sorted, The stuff that's underneath the tables will go in those clear boxes and then it'll be tidy. But I'm not wasting another 30 odd quid for boxes when I have 3 that'll be empty as soon as I get around to rebuilding all 3 Ninjago sets, which we all know probably isn't going to be this year, and it's only March of 2024. Right, I am like waffling, food, drink, tidy. So as you have just seen, I've been running around headless chicken, and that is to get the Star Wars stuff off that table. It's not been placed in today's video, it's just going to be housed over there, and then we can mess around with that because there's quite a few things that we need to think of. But I did have a little bit of time messing around with this gunship, and I think that does look very, very good just on the top. So obviously it fits, which is great. I wasn't 100% sure if it would. It also does fit forward facing as well, but for the angles, the wings are so big I have to have it behind the table leg and it cuts underneath the table. But obviously we can add minifigures and stuff in there if required, and having it at that angle, it probably takes up the least amount of table space. No, that's a lie, because it's the same amount of table space because it's on a stand. It's just tucked back a little bit so it won't sort of overshadow everything else. And obviously we've got the cantina on this side. Now with these, we can do some bits and pieces at a later date with regards to what we're going to do with these. I'm not 100% sure, because now this is going to be its own individual land, but there is potential for this to go further. Now this will be a completely separate upload. Obviously this is all about Gotham, and we'll be doing what we're doing for this, for Gotham, in much greater detail. But I think there is the possibility, if we went from the brickwork to here, if I got the tape measure out, I'm pretty sure it's this length. So we could basically create a T shape. We would lose a cube. Well, to be honest, it wouldn't really matter if you lose a cube or two. Gain a couple of cubes here, and then we just gain that table space. And on this, we'll just go back into that storage cupboard, which I've cleared the space for, because we pulled all the Lego out of there a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? So there is space to tidy up this side, and then we can carry on from there. But I'm going to have to try and get as many ships on this table as possible just to start with, and fill up every single cube. And then this is going to be the underground display is going to be a completely different thing. So we've got Indiana Jones still to come over. There's 1 or 2 other little bits and pieces to come over. Obviously this coaster needs to be honed. That was... Oh, it's one of those, because it can go in quite a few different places. It makes sense going down. See, it didn't take long. You start knocking it all off and damaging it all. It was perfect up at the top, and then obviously we took that off and we had this sort of funfair section. So when this is out and this isn't here, these two side by side, they look absolutely fantastic. So there's 1 or 2 of those to come off. There's some Ninjago broken pieces up on there. They'll need to be rehoused. That paint is still drying. We are still the same day. Obviously I'll let you know when that does change, but there's nothing that I can do with that. But it does look like it's drying as a good colour. Taking a while. It does look like it's drying as a good solid colour. It's taking a while, but I think we're getting there. So I just have to mess around with that later on within this week and do all the bits and pieces at the top. But what I'm trying to achieve by the end of my day today, which is just almost the first chapter within this upload for you guys and girls, is I want to get the Harry Potter placed. Before I can do any of that, I've got to realign all these tables. I forgot about that. So you can see the gaps, look. I had to pull all the tables off and round so I can bring this out. So if I can level this off, it means that this table now, it doesn't actually overhang the cube underneath, which is great. But it's going to be a lot of work to do that. But the good thing is that the bottom table is already moved all the way down, and that's where the Harry Potter is going to be going. There is some sort of positive about this, because I can take the Harry Potter stuff off that table, then that table is completely clear, and then I can knock it underneath. I've got a crawl underneath the table, knock my back leg, whip it round, and then we'll be good to go. And then, like we said, roller coaster, loop roller coaster is going to go here. Then it's very much a case of, and it's already in the comment section from the live stream, and that live stream hasn't, you guys and girls haven't even said what we said we were going to do last time, but everybody's on the same idea. Rivendell would work perfectly with the new Dungeons and Dragons set, which would work perfectly with the castle, which would work perfectly with the medieval market. All of that together with the Stranger Things set and the Harry Potter set. Coaster that end, loop coaster that end. When I say coaster, it would be the Gringotts Bank. So it's going to be a long-term project over these 4 tables, but at least all of this behind us would be there or thereabouts perfect. So I will now just run about, get all of these bits and pieces in, and then I will catch back up with you when it's time to move the Harry Potter sets. So you can see they have moved, and to be honest, they do look very effective in a long line. Now, just don't know how we can bridge the gap from our, what is going to be really mythical sort of area, because if we're going to go Dungeons and Dragons, Rivendell set, or say Lord of the Rings sets, because there's going to be 2 of those. We've got the Jurassic Park gates in the mix as well. Now we've got 2 options with them, I think, which are these beautiful things just here. So this is all bonus, to be honest. I wasn't going to be expecting to do this now, but that paint isn't going to be dry for another day or 2 at least, so we can mess around with this. Now, with the table being that way, that has never been there before. Now, obviously, what I've got to be careful of is breaking my neck if I come over the loft hatch. So I've got to be so careful every single time. But we obviously have got quite a lot of space on this table. So I don't know whether to write this table off and just have it as Harry Potter, which probably isn't the smartest of ideas. Or, see, I'm now hands-free like an idiot. We do something like this, and we have a little walkway connecting it to the next land, which, don't forget, is going to be Gotham. And then in front of that one building, doesn't necessarily have to be that building, but in front of that building is the right, which is the Gringotts, which I think that will fit where that is. I need to get the tape measure out and just fact, let me put you up here, and I will do a bit of live measuring. So if we go from, because the bank is a base plate, so from the outside of this table, do not do this at home, outside of that table is 3 foot. Inside of that table is, what we're at 29 inches. So we'll say 2 foot all round to be safe. So I'm sure that'll be absolutely fine anywhere on that table. So it will go. Now the loop coaster obviously can't go there because it needs 3 foot of space. That's why it's going to go right up at the top just here. So with regards to the Harry Potter, the plan is it's all going to be water based. From basically this table, we're going to have the loop coaster, then it goes into a mythical type section. Just got to figure out what we're going to bridge the gap to. Now, obviously the easy thing to do is to put the Jurassic Park gates here, which I actually did discuss with Jay's Toy Collection UK. Have the Jurassic Park gates at an angle, and then maybe have the visitors centre and everything just in front of it. Or I'm just trying to think how we can utilise the space of this table with so many little sets, because you don't need a huge amount going on. Because if I was to do that, you got that, that, and then those two just there. But I think that's going to lose. And the reason why I'm having them facing forwards is that if I spun them round, you've obviously got all the open back, which I don't think is a problem at all. But I don't know if an alleyway on this table would work, because if I did this, I can't actually see them. So I would have to have the alleyway here, which is doable. Whereas I really do like the alleyway on that, because obviously it looks super smart and effective. Now again, if I was to spin them round like so, you get the overhead look, and then you can get down. But I just don't know if you could get away with having a double alley. I think that wouldn't, I don't know. Because it takes up the least amount of space, like that. So that's the least amount of space. So we have 2 separate alleyways going from one to another. Now that could potentially work if we just brought this forward a base plate and then we had the ride the other side of it. That could potentially work. So we would be, what, close to halfway into the table. I have moved so many base plates today, and I have no, there it is. There's a base plate. So it would be potentially like that. That's how much space it would come in if I had them back to back. So I'm going to have to mess around with that, but there's nothing else going on that table yet at the moment. And obviously this is all going to be space, but I just don't want to make it look crammed for no reason. But then at the same time, I would like it to look like a nice section. Now obviously the best way of doing this is having the bank in the corner. But with the size of that table, with the configuration, I don't think it will fit. Because what you'll see is you'd have the Gringotts bank in the far corner, and then you would have 2 modulars one way, 2 modulars the other, and then you have like that big open mouth, and that takes up the most amount of space. I do quite like having it like that, but it's just, I don't know visually if it works on camera. That is the only issue. Because again, what I have seen people do, and I think it's pictured that way as well, is you do have them back to back. So you have it like that, and then you have one, you know, I've seen them like this, and like this, and you have a reverse alley. So you get 2 from that side, and I'm never going to see those 2 from that side because I can't physically get over there. That's why if the roller coaster's up there, you'd see the top and the bottom of it and it would be fine. And obviously I don't want anything in front of the bottom of that anyway. So if that is the base plate for that, you wouldn't have that there straight away. So that would have to go. But I wonder if we can just do a 3-in-1 configuration maybe. Because all of these are quite close together. Now that, to be honest, makes the most sense going forward, because there is a path there that takes you down a custom alleyway. So if that was like that, that was like that, you can see all those drips, so bad. Now we're going somewhere, so potentially, don't want to be doing that. Is that chimney? I think so. We could go there, there. Obviously, they can be messed around and fitted in a little bit better, but we could do something like that. I know it's hard without the other one in, but the second you do that, it eats up all the table, and I think it looks better as a long line of 4 rather than 3-in-1 with that on the corner. Because that space coaster would fit in that gap. If they were a long line and we put the space coaster there, which to be honest, I might as well just do for now so it doesn't get damaged. Could we change the spacey stuff to brooms? Probably not. Because we're trying to tell a story. I know we're overthinking this, well I'm overthinking it anyway, but we are trying to tell a story. When this is all tidy, you'll see what we're trying to do. We've got all the walkways with the path and everything like that. But we have got an option of a blank canvas to do something very, very different that people haven't done before, I don't think, with a proper mythical type walkway mixed in with other bits and pieces, and then you go from all the water. So you basically have to travel across 3 tables. You've got no choice but to take a boat. There won't be a footpath, so it'll all be canoes. We'll have a load of canoes. You get on at one end, you get off at the other, and like I said, the loop roller coaster is on this side. Now that's why I'm not 100% sure through the gates, because at Universal the main ride is obviously the huge roller coaster. So I don't know if we have the Jurassic Park gates going into the Harry Potter section, or we have the Jurassic Park gates going into the water ride itself. But then if we did that, we would have to put potentially the Stranger Things here instead, and then you walk underneath the Stranger Things into the Harry Potter when you get off the canoe, and it goes through. It's like, the reason, again, in case you haven't caught part 1 and you're wondering what am I waffling on about, once it's in situ, it's ready to be tiled and done. So I've got to get this nailed. With regards to this is going to be a slow burn because we've got plenty of time to do it. So rather than me wasting a load of your time and a lot of my life on this issue, which is not really an issue, and to be honest, I could actually pull the table forward, you know. There's no reason for the table to be lined up at the back like that. I know it lines up, but I could potentially bring these tables now. Oh yeah, because we've lost this. Oh no, we've lost this, so that's why that table is so far back. But could potentially bring them forward a little bit more to go as a little bit more roof height at the back. I'll get those as a straight 4. We'll put the Space Coaster there for now, just so it doesn't get damaged. Then we will see and have a think about what we could potentially do with that. It's just a complete wrong theming. That is the only problem and issue. Right, I need 2 ends for this, so I'll turn you off, get those level, put that over, and then have a think about what's to come next. Right, a little bit of progress has been made, but I need to stop what I'm doing and actually get the bits and pieces painted. I'm going to have to find some masking tape and do it really, really quick, because I've just checked the weather forecast and it is supposed to plummet temperature tomorrow, which is not going to be good whatsoever, because it means that water's going to get really cold, and if I try and paint it tomorrow, it's not going to work. So instead of me now having a nice relaxing evening, I'm now going to be painting this on top of that. But this is it. So I've just put that there for now, and you can see what the spacing is like with that. So you've got the coaster there in front of the Harry Potter, and to be fair, it doesn't look, it works with regards to the scale and size. It's just the wrong theming, which is really annoying. But I don't know if the Stranger Things would work where that coaster is. So once I have got the paint on the wall, because I might as well get that on and get that on urgently, I will then move this and just put that exactly where the coaster is and just see if it works there. Because if it does work there, we could potentially create a path walking underneath the Stranger Things going into what is obviously going to be the Harry Potter section, and then we can figure out from there where the Jurassic Park gates are going to go, and then obviously we've got the vehicles and that kind of thing. Because if we brought the Jurassic Park gates over to this side with the loop coaster rather than having the Jurassic gates at the far end, it means we could use the cars and the dinosaurs as theming to the loop roller coaster, because you've got the visitor center, which you could go here, for example, and then it's just the other cars and the trees and stuff that can go around. So it's this base plate here, these base plates that are down, that would be for the loop coaster. So that is my thinking behind it, but I just don't know if that'll work, because then potentially we could get the tree house dotted in there as well. Now, obviously, if the Stranger Things works perfectly where that coaster is, then I don't know where to put that coaster again, because it's not going to work on this side, but it can just go to this side when the gates come off, so again it doesn't get damaged, and that could just be its own separate thing until it goes underneath the table with all the other spacey stuff. So we're not losing it, because obviously you want it as a ride, but I just want something that is that size with that amount of track, is a nice figure of 8, 2 base plates that would work with a Harry Potter. And now there's a pirate one and there's a Friends one, but neither of them would work with it. So I'll try the Stranger Things after I have got some more paint on the wall, because it's already starting to get cold in here. It gets cold in here so quickly, so I'm going to have to be really, really careful how I put it on with a paintbrush, otherwise it's going to run straight over the top. But I've been in here that long that I think that is the colour that it is going to dry. I think that's it. I think it's now on, it's mixed in properly. So if you saw the end of part number 1, it looked horrendous. There might be 1 or 2 bricks I need to go back over, which I can't do for a couple of days, obviously. But the other bits and pieces, it's looking quite rich. It hasn't got as much shine as what it did before. I don't know what that was all about, but that does look quite smart. And then obviously with all the Batman stuff, so the black in front of it and the white writing in front of it, I think that will look really, really good. But I need to get changed again. That is what's going on with this as well. So before I forget, I've just thrown all of these on there. There's my rocket fuel. And then obviously these ships on there will just be displayed and done however they need to be done. Because obviously we might have some bits and pieces dangling off the ceiling and all that kind of thing. But like I said, we've got a lot to get through within this upload. We're probably quite far in already for time-wise. We've not really scratched the surface of what I want to achieve in this upload. But this, you can see how clean that table is. That is the rest of the display. I want the rest of the display looking like that. You can see how, with regards to this, with what I've done with the base plates, the white is where the minifigures would go, and that would just be theming. So we could put, I don't know, vehicles there if it was meant for vehicles with the Harry Potter. So say, for example, the little blue car that they've got, that could go there. Hagrid's hut could go down there, which could work quite well walking underneath the Stranger Things potentially. And the Stranger Things would be forward facing where that is, and I think you would still be able to see it. I think. The only thing I don't want it to do, and I know I'm waffling on now, is I don't want it to block what's already there, because that is basically the perfect height. Because you've got a big item in front of something that's not exactly massive, but you can see everything easy enough. You can see all the white and everything on the table, and then you have that in the corner. That's going to bug me, so I'm just going to do it now. So I am just going to turn you off, move that, and then you let me know in the comment section what you think, and then we can finalise this over a period of time. Oh, I don't know. I didn't think it would look that nice, because I can easily see everything else around it, and I'm just trying to visualise it with the coaster on the other side, because obviously main ride in the corner. This, the footpath can go through, it can go underneath. You could easily see everything around that, but I don't know, I think that might be better used somewhere else. But it works. It's actually the same scale. I thought it was going to be much taller, whereas actually the roof height is exactly the same as the other set. So if you've got it, or you were thinking of getting it for whatever reason, you wanted to try and do what I'm doing, at least you know the height wise and scale. But let us know what you think in that comment section, because obviously this is over a slow burn. But I could start this table sooner rather than later. I could potentially angle this, but if I angled it, I'm going to potentially block bits and pieces off, whereas I just keep it as a street. You can walk in front of that. You've got the upside down bit there. You've got the bit underneath. And then we could figure out what we could put in front of it, because again, I guess the Stranger Things is on hard standing. I don't think they went on the water, did they? So it kind of makes sense having those buildings together, potentially. So as it stands right now, we've got 2 options. The Stranger Things, where I'm stood right now, visually it looks really impactful and it looks really nice, and it's almost a centerpiece around the Harry Potter section, and then we'd have the Harry Potter ride around it, and it's not going to get lost. That's what you've got to remember. Whereas if we put the Stranger Things set in with sets that are this big, and I mean these things are enormous, will it get swallowed? So as it stands, that might be the safest bet for it, because the gates are much taller, the loop coaster is much taller, everything's much bigger. That actually I really do like. But I'll let you guys and girls decide. I will move the coaster away from where it is, because I've just had to put that again on the table. So I'll put that beside it on that table for now. And then I can have a look and see which one I prefer out of the 2. But I think potentially if I can get the Stranger Things to path merge in, I think it kind of makes sense. You go through the upside down into a lost Harry Potter alleyway. Clutching at straws on that. Right, I really need to get this painting done. I'm not going to bore you with that. I might put you as a time lapse in case I fall through the calyx. you can see, it is slowly going on, and more you dab, the better it looks. Now, there is obviously going to be gaps and holes. If you don't know, I'm not going to explain. But it didn't end up well on that wall, and I don't want the same thing to happen on this one. So I will do what I can do. I've got to get into that corner anyway, and I need to mask up against that bit. But obviously Castle Grayskull's in the way, and Castle Grayskull is actually coming over this way. So I will now carry on moving some of the sets. The main bit at the top I put on very, very lightly, so I really hope that doesn't run this evening. Hopefully it will dry before it gets too cold. But when I run outside to get the masking tape, I could see my own breath already, which is never a good thing in here. But as it stands at the moment, it's still got a little bit of heat in there. So the main wall's dry, we're laughing. Obviously there's little bits that is still wet, but it's not going to run. We just don't want this bit to run over the brickwork. Otherwise it's going to be, well, a not very funny disaster, is it? But I just need to obviously mask up that corner and over the orange so it doesn't overlap. I'll keep the masking tape on because obviously that is ridiculous, me climbing on that. Because if I fell off, break my neck. So always something to look forward to in these uploads. Bit more bits and pieces to dab in, but obviously I'll let this dry first, and then I'll go back over some bits. If it's dry tomorrow lunchtime, because I put it on very, very lightly, it might get its second coat, and then later on in the week I'll put it on a little bit thicker when it's warmer again, fingers crossed, and then it'll be finished. But that won't stop us doing the Gotham stuff, so that's fine. It's on the outer edge. I can reach, as long as I can get this top bit done, so basically from like that white brick up and then that white brick to about there, everything else I'll be able to reach over the sets or just move one of the sets to the side. So as long as that bit is done with where I need to climb on, we will be laughing. Right, so Castle Grayskull is also up for discussion. So Castle Grayskull is coming over here somewhere. Now Castle Grayskull is going to go with Snake Mountain. They're going to go as a pair. This Rivendell set is deceivingly massive, and I mean that in a good way. It is enormous. So we either bring it quite close to the front and then have something taller behind it, or potentially now we spin it down to the side and it kind of cuts that land off there, but not quite cuts it off fully, because the Eye of Sauron, I think it's called, I don't know, it's the Easter egg that was in Dungeons & Dragons. I'm trying to impress Jay's Toy Collection UK, and I probably butchered that. We think that's going to be the next Rivendell set, and that is a big tall eye. That will have to go on the end of this table, because it's the highest point of the room. We've got no other place that can go, so that will go there. So I don't know whether to have those two side by side. And if I did, potentially, it could go behind this bit, and we could have this facing inwards, which would then, I'm trying to think how it would flow. So one way of doing it is Jurassic Park gates. So it'd be Loop Coaster, Jurassic Park gates. The Loop Coaster is all Jurassic Park theming, which we've been saying for months. With regards to that theme, I've got to get all of this, mind, so it's going to be painful. Castle, Medieval Market, He-Man Castle, potentially then Snake Mountain, into the Rivendell, both sets, and then down. And obviously there is the little Viking village, which is all water-based as well. And that's in a huge sale in John Lewis. I mean, I know it's still a lot of money, but it's under £100 already. And you get a lot of bricks for that. It is a nice looking set. So that could potentially be a bit of a, a bit of an Easter egg within here. But I really do like that Stranger Things set there. Obviously, I know it would look nice spun going left to right, but then it would really hide the track behind it, I think. So whereas I'm stood now, I'll be able to see everything. I can see all of the street, and then I think that might be the best case scenario for that at the moment. I'm sure we'll end up moving it quite quickly. But what I'm going to do right now, I'll do this with you, is if I place you down just here, we'll get this moved, and we will just spin the Rivendell round and then see if it will work. So Pet Shop is going with Gotham, obviously, for Catwoman. Now we have got some issues because some of this will just have to be dragged. I don't even know what that is. I think that's top of the I would say the haunted house, but I'm not too sure. See how bad this is, where we've just got these random little pieces dotted around. So let's see what this looks like spun around. Like it's all clipped together. No, it looks nice. It looks nice close to the front, but if we can keep it close to the front and have the new set staggered behind it, because I think it might be quite tall. So it's going to be quite tall. It's going to have to go here. Now, I didn't do a very good job of moving the Star Wars stuff, did I? Well, you know what? Let's go just back to bodging it and just quadruple shift everything. If I just push that down, I've got 3 tables of space and I still haven't bothered to create the space that I need. Get that off this table, get that off this table. That is the ATTE, the nice little walker. He needs to go there. That is Star Wars, so he needs to go under. Coming round. So far, so good. Right. I bet you I've got that walker in the way of this now, but never mind. So this can come here. This comes to... yeah, walker's in the way, of course it is. There. That. Let's spin it round. There. No. Did not want to do that. There. Clip that in like so. And then, without falling over, just to show you how big that thing is. Now, that is something potential that we could do, just like that. So you've got the nice Rivendell, you've got all that, you've got that nice rooftop, and then obviously we have the walk, the footpath zigzags around the back, and then it goes into our Harry Potter section. So you can see what I mean about just how big this is. This table's nearly a metre long. We're not far off the edge here, and we haven't got much space to play with over there. So we could have it like that, and then have the eye behind it, or we spin it in and have it facing forward. I think we'll get both Lord of the Rings. We'll get both Lord of the Rings on one table. I'm going to have to try and angle the gates and the loop coaster and all the Jurassic Park stuff on the other table. And then this table then would be free for Grayskull, Castle, Market, potentially Snake Mountain. But which way do we think this needs to go? Do we like it like that? Or basically how it was? It could potentially go a little bit further back, and obviously we don't have anything blocking it, because I don't want anything to block it, because depending on how you have it and where you stand, you can see so much more detail of it all. Obviously it looks really nice split up as well, but together there is something very special about it all being together. And obviously it's going to be the water, so you've got the waterfall feeding in. So maybe they could pull up to the Rivendell piece, and this is how they get off the ride, because they just get off and then walk, and then this path just carries on getting created and it goes that way. So potentially we could maybe angle that a little bit, more. I mean, like I keep saying, we've got plenty of space, but it's just nice to have an idea. So that's as far as it can go to the back. So we could have it like that. So that is touching, and then that is how much table space we have left. Don't like it that far back. I think it'll look better closer. But I think it'll be easier when if they release the other one. It depends if you want to merge everything together, or we just have everything still grouped, but it's just one ride. The good thing is nothing's going to hide the Stranger Things and the Harry Potter, and I've forgotten Dungeons and Dragons, haven't I? Because that's the game changer now, because that is an easier shape to work with. Whereas this Rivendell, as I'm hoping, what I'm trying to get across the camera is just how big this is. Easiest thing, go to the back wall, straight line. Simple as that. Back wall straight line like this. Might as well show you. So back wall straight line, and then we work around it. But the problem is then, is I just don't know what's going to happen with the stuff that goes in front of it. See, I told you I'm going to end up moving these sets millions and millions of times. That's why they always get damaged. But it is what it is. So that is, because it's not straight, it kicks out. That is the shape. Where has that just come from? I'm not losing the lily pad, so you can go back up there for now. Maybe you're there. Don't think that's right, but tough, yeah. So that's level, and then that twists out. And I bet all you could see, only you care, you could just there. So that is that. Which looks nice, it looks really nice, but you have got space behind. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because what do we put in basically that gap that we've created? Now the only thing I can think of, and we put it in the box, is the Monkey Kid waterfall. That Monkey Kid waterfall might fit in that gap, and it just feeds the water in, which would look, I think that would look quite nice. Which would involve me undoing everything I did at the part 1 of this monstrosity upload. But I can't do that now until Gotham has been put back in. But as it stands, there's space, but you can see how this eats into the next table. So that is the only problem. But coming off this table is going to be that set, that set. The fresh set will be going to the far back. All of these bits and pieces will be coming off anyway, because they'll go down into the Star Wars stuff. So as it stands, yeah, when that paint's dry, we're good to go with regards to just having complete space on here. And it is just the He-Man castle. So I need to grab the He-Man castle. I think I'm just going to plonk that somewhere for now, because it just makes sense. Mask that up, obviously. Get that next bit of paint on light. Have a think about the other bits, because I can't tidy this bit up until the bank's moved. So that's Gotham. I can't do anything on that table. That's Gotham gates. That's what we'll achieve this evening. So we will get He-Man over. We'll get the gates over. And I'll catch back up with you once I've masked that and got a bit more red on the wall. So that I have to do for the painting today, because I don't want it to drip, basically. So I've dabbed in what I can. There's still quite a lot more work that needs to be done, and obviously I want to make this a proper feature wall. So obviously if I stand this way, you get the idea of the really nice blue backdrop with, obviously, the marble bits and pieces. Maybe not so much now, because it looks like it's still a bit of a bomb site, which will get sorted before the end of this upload. But then obviously as I turn around, you've then got this, and you can just imagine all of the different bits and pieces that we're going to be doing on the wall. And I've got to think if we're going to add any yellow, or if we're going to do more of a cutout display or something. It's going to be a special display, this one. It's going to be a large size display, big Gotham underneath. Potentially might add some train track in front of it as well. If I do that, then we've got to figure out exactly what's going to be going on with that. But we have got all the buildings, like I said, needed for the Gotham. And to start with, I'm just going to put down all the grey road plates. And then I guess what I'm going to have to do is raise, thinking about it now, raise this table up so it's level, unless we have like a drop into something else, because actually that could potentially work. There might be, I know what we're going to put in that corner. I think everybody knows what's going to go in that corner. I think it'd be easy enough, because it is going to be the shutter box. So anybody that said that in the upload before the upload for that, yes, the shutter box looks very, very good in the corner. We want that all opened up, and then we can have a nice display in the middle of that. And don't forget, it's a Gotham theme park, and our ride is obviously the Joker. So I think the Joker's going to go on the other side, maybe, or it might look really nice smack in the middle. So that's something to think about. Now, something else to think about is, well, this. I know this is the He-Man castle, and no, it's not going to be going there. However, I was thinking when I was painting, as you do, oh, I wonder what the Dungeons and Dragons set would look like in between the two Rivendell sets. Obviously, saying that there's going to be another one coming out. So that would be what that would be. And then in this corner just here, so if I grab that base plate, that would be potentially the next set. Now, straight away, you lose the Rivendell, don't you? So does that matter? Because you can see it from that side and you can see it from that side. Or do we think the Dungeons and Dragons set would look better behind it because it's taller? Because obviously what we've done here is we've got it nailed where you can see everything and it's fine. This is the only problem with doing stuff on the side, because it's really difficult to scale them, because obviously the bigger buildings like these, they don't fit because this roof height is very, very deceiving, and we've got this issue with this bit of wood here as well. Now with this, I was saying about the waterfall, we could tuck this face, this cute little face, in that gap if we pulled the Rivendell forward, but then we would have to have something else in front of the Rivendell. Obviously the Stranger Things would work there because it's smaller, but then the Stranger Things works there, and obviously we're eating into these table spaces massively, so if I pulled out the Stranger Things, potentially have to put something else there. I think for that display, that is potentially the best at the moment. I am 100% sure it is the best at the moment. I started to doubt myself, but no, that works really nicely. And with the new thing beside it, with that ride, I think that's going to look really, really smart. So, as I was saying with regards to this, we've got to be careful with where the stuff gets placed. You want to be able to see everything. So obviously it can be angled, this thing could be spun. This is huge, but it's not the tallest, but it dwarfs everything else. But then what would make more sense if I brought the Rivendell forward and then had the He-Man castle behind it, but to the right-hand side. Yes, I know that makes sense. But the middle section then would hide quite a lot. Today is a new day. Check that out for an edit. The battery ran out at the perfectly right time, and I'm all smug now, so I've just edited that bit together. So I have done some things this morning, and I've done the second coat around the outside. It was a big risk, but I either had to do it first thing this morning, or there was no way I was going to be able to do it for a couple more days because the temperature is just dropping and it gets damp and horrible. But that is now what it looks like, and I do like the look of that. Yes, that is how it's going to be cut off, because I'm not too sure what to do with that far corner. You're not really going to see bits and pieces there anyway, and I can't really reach, so there's no point going all the way down into the floors. Obviously the brickwork goes all the way down like it does with the one behind me. But I think that is drying and dried really nicely. Now obviously it's going to need a couple of jabs with a smaller brush. Now where it looks like it's darker, like there for example, there, it's not. It's just where the brick's chipped and cut in on itself, so it casts a shadow. So it's just that bit there. So it's depending on how I stand will depend on what you see. I have been jabbing in all the little bits and pieces, but like those things for example, where the brickwork's a little bit holy, the white really shows against the red, and I think that is going to slightly annoy me. So over a period of time, I will get a smaller paintbrush and just jab it in, but I need to put it on quite thick. And there's no way I'm going to risk doing that for the next couple of days. Well, because it's going to drip and go with the brickwork. So what I want to do and achieve right now is I want to get all of the Gotham done. I have been waiting for this. I'm excited to do this bit because, well, just as it starts to absolutely pour down right on cue, so you can probably hear that on the roof. I want to get all of the Gotham in because I am filming this the day part number 1 goes live. So I will then be able to sort of hear your feedback with regards to what order you think it would look better, and then I can change it tomorrow. So at least I can also then put it in, I can sleep on it and think about it and not rush. So what I will do first is we will get Gotham in next, in the next segment of this, and then I will carry on moaning and whinging about the Rivendells. I did do a little bit more research on the Dungeons and Dragons set last night, and the dragon looks much taller than obviously the Rivendell, so you would see the actual dragon and also the castle. So there is potential to have the Rivendell in front and the castle behind. And then obviously the He-Man stuff just comes over to the left-hand side. So we've got lots of bits and pieces to chop and change. Now I need to think exactly how to put this in. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to, again, clean everything up as you always do. I need to Do I'm gonna have to. Do I risk it? I was about to say I'm gonna have to take the masking tape off first. If I take the masking tape off and it dries dreadfully, I'm gonna keep the masking tape on and just hope. No, I've never done that before. I always find masking tape always rips the paint off when it dries hard. I'll take the masking tape off and just hope for the best. And then, worst case scenario, I'll remask it. But you saw what I had to do to climb on this table, and this is exactly where those sets are going to go. So this is going to be good fun. Slept on that. I think that looks really smart like that. So that's going to stay. And obviously the coaster is going to go. So that is all good, sexy, and fun. With regards to some other little bits and pieces, everything. This is going to be placed. I need to get this sorted, so we've got to leave a little bit of space for this, so I leave the base plate in half somewhere. So I've also got to think of how are we going to do it. Are we going to go, for example, these two, then the museum, or we're going to go this museum police station? I also have to think of, am I putting them as a 3? I'm going to put the Joe Commander on the left, Shadow Box on the right hand side, and then sort of go from there. But I don't know, yeah, I'm tripping over myself already. You can tell I'm getting all excited about this. So I will clear this up and just get it all off. So it's paint's off, as you can see. I'm a messy person and I've got paint all over the top of that because I know it just comes straight off with the baby wipes, so I don't have to worry whatsoever. And then the first thing we're going to do is put the shadow box in the corner. That will be fine. I just can't get the shadow box to touch the corner because I have just painted that corner. So if I get red all over this, I will be crying. So that is going to set us off. So I won't do this as a time lapse, but I will do it with you because this smashed in half last time I moved it. So I can plonk you over in that corner and then you can just see me walking to and from, because it's not going to take too long because we have got a couple of different bits and pieces to place. Then I'll put you into a time lapse and change stuff. Of course, we've got the bank as well. So it's going to work quite well, I think, because we've got two ends. We've got two corner units. So basically, I'm envisioning a street in the middle, the ride one side and the shadow box the other. And then we've got to add in some other little bits and pieces as well. But I didn't know whether to have it like ride, gap, block of 3 modulars, gap, block of 4 modulars, gap, shadow box, or just one long street. And what I mean by the gap is 2 or 3 modulars, Arkham Asylum, 2 or 3 modulars, hospital, that kind of thing. So I want to make this look really, really clean and smart. I've already wasted 5 minutes of your life and I've not actually moved. So I'm now going to tidy all of this up, get going, get some more rocket fuel inside me. I've got one for lunch and I've had one for breakfast. So that's why there's cans all over the place because I drink far too many of them. Right, let's get to it. So space has been made and it is time for the Batman Shadow Box finally to go into its new home in the corner. Now, I did say, which only was yesterday, feels like a long, long time ago, about this table. Now, because I'm filming this before part 1 goes live and I just want to put these in, we have got the opportunity to raise this table up so it's level with the back. And you guys and girls might be like, yeah, do it. It'll work, it'll make sense for Gotham. But don't forget this table then, it will drop down into it. And this table is standalone as such because obviously it comes in and out. So I can move this table over to close this gap because there wasn't actually a gap there. So what we have, or could, shall I say, is the L up at the top as its own thing. 4 tables as its own thing. A Kallax and a table for its own thing. And then another 2 tables as another land, so it's almost zoned out. Now it's not a massive step. My days, that was me nearly falling down the loft. It's not a massive step, but clearly it's going to be a right pain in the backside. So I don't know whether just to try and raise this up now. So I've got the wood here, so all the wood's there, and I can just get underneath 4 legs, which again is easier said than done, but it is doable. Get those level. Hope that wood is the correct size for that because I'm sure we made that. I'm sure it is. And then depending on how, that way the street would just be level. Or do we want to drop? I don't know. I'll put it in for now so we've got the layout, I think. And then figure out if it's worth raising that table up so this bit's all level and then these 2 are separate, which saying it out loud sounds better. but I don't know visually if it would be quite nice having a drop from whatever that's going to be into where the shadow box is. And it very much depends if the shadow box will fit in this corner without it overlapping this table. That is the key thing, because obviously this thing is massive. So I think it is time to plonk this in. We'll get it all in rough, and then as this upload goes on, we'll get it in a little bit neater. So where am I going from? I am going from here. So this is going to be a live disaster, because I've got to pick this up without smashing it, and obviously it is going to get smashed. All the bits and pieces that are on the floor, like these bigger boxes and things, they will be stored on this table, because this is the table that won't be doing anything, and I will be building on this table a little bit. So I think the first thing I'm going to build is actually the museum, which I've got the instructions out for. The box is ready, and I have got the bottom of the base plate done already, so we can use that for a bit of space if required. I think the easiest thing for me to do is if I just pick this one up. So that's your palace. So if I just put this behind the camera for now, which I think would look nice. Oh, that does look very good in front of that red. I can't lie about that. That does look very, very, very good. And then put this behind the camera. Move you as I do it. So that is what I mean by the street. Just like so. Hello, pumpkin. You okay? So yeah, that looks clean as that does. That looks very, very smart. And we've got that in front of it, which is where the road plate's going to go. Yeah, so the key bit is this. Will this fit where it is? And it's amazing, actually. Two bits, and it really does eat into that Kallax space quite quickly. Now, what are you doing, pumpkin? She is having a sniff. So this is my baby girl. So say hello. Hello. Right, go on then, find your new bed, because I've got your new bed in that corner. So escape into there. Come on. There you go, darling. Go on, get your head in. Giving her a load of new hidey holes, so she should be happy. Because every time she comes up, she can't actually do anything. Right, bike 1, bike 2. Oh dear. Well, did that fall off? Did it when I moved it last? Oh, it did, didn't it? Of course it did. Oh yeah, because I didn't actually repair it from the last time, did I? Fantastic. So, oh, that's why I had it propped up, because it was going to break when I put it down. Moron. Right, okay, so this should be sturdy. So the back piece of this is really, really sturdy, but I've always found the door a little bit flimsy. But then in all fairness, I think I probably move my sets more than anybody else on YouTube. And if somebody else moves it more than me, I feel very, very, very sorry for you. Right, not a chance, basically. Not a chance whatsoever. So, this table is massive, obviously, because it's an IKEA table. But this is going to overlap the next table. Oh dear, so we're not going to be able to have those level, basically. Otherwise it involves me raising all 3 of the tables up. I think that's just going to be a right pain in the backside. I can't even visualise which way this is supposed to go. I have to shut its flap and then try and figure it out. Oh, it goes in there, doesn't it? Of course, I've got the other piece here. Oh, it might. Oh, it might. I was doing a bit of a donut then, because, of course, that bit goes there. That bit stands on there. Really do need better lighting in here, because these lights spin around, and I keep moving them. There you go. So I can see what I'm doing. I was moving them around for the paint. Now we've got the piece in there. Where is it? Oh dear. You know about that one, because there's a piece that fell off, as it does, and it stops the door from snapping in half. Right, so we've gone from not a chance to a possibility. No, it's going to just overhang. Oh, the pieces are here. There we go, that's where I put them. I was clever enough to put them on the actual thing. So I am walking with this without trying to force down the loft hatch. Oh, it does, you know. How does that fit on there? When that is in, that will fit. When that's all been repaired. It's a bit sketchy at the moment. Oh, there it is. I've even been more organised. That's the bit that fell off. So that bit here. Doesn't sound good. That's pumpkin exploring. That somehow needs to go back into there, and then something else overlays this, because you've got all these different, oh dear, all these different layers on there. That is what that looks like in the corner. So it's a big old thing. Obviously we're going to have yellow behind it because the white does not work whatsoever. How have you managed to get up there? You've gone underneath the table. Don't you dare jump. Jump down. Thank you. Where are you going? Cat cam now. What are you doing, Fluffy? Right, so that is in, which is great. And it is to the edge. I need the edge of that table. I might be able to bring it over a smidge more. Yep. And I would imagine I might be able to go. Yeah, I can go back. Right, so that's now touching. That's flush. So I can have it like that. So it's not perfect angle. Because if I try to move this out more. No, I can do it. Oh, laughing. Okay. Right, so that is it. And then we're off by 2 studs. Now, clearly, I have to repair it before I raise the table up because I don't want to put any more pressure on. And it might come in by 2 studs if I've not put that bit on properly. So at least we know now that that is a half decent size and I can put a bit of yellow behind it. I don't know whether to stick some base plates behind it and yellow tile it, which could look quite nice, but I don't know how many base, hang on, how many base plates do we think that is? I'm just eyeballing these. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, it's now I pushed it together by just doing that. It's not overhanging the table. It's exactly the width of the table, but it's not overhanging it. Oh, that's embarrassing. You probably didn't see that. The base plate's just falling straight behind the table. Ah. Put it in front instead then. That'd be easier. Lights are in the way. Yeah, just 2 base plates then. Not quite 2 base plates of yellow tiles. That might be done with yellow tiles then. If I can mark it out correctly. I've now got to get that bleeding base plate from the back. It does mean also that table can get pushed back a little bit then, because clearly it's not flush against the wall. And I thought, oh, it's nowhere near the wall. That's why I pulled it to here. So this could potentially come over. This could potentially come over a little bit more, but that, if I stop waffling on and messing around with this, it's only supposed to be going in rough. That is there, that is there, that is there. That is exactly to the stud when it's in level with that table. So that is fine. So I'm happy with that. I think that's going to look really smart. You got the red against the orange. Again, looks smart. And then we'll have the yellow in the backing, which is all the really bright, vibrant colours that they use in the animated series anyway. So that will need this. There's a lot that needs to be repaired for obvious reasons of, well, me falling through a table. The Disney Castle doesn't need to be repaired, it just needs to be finished, so that's okay. And it's just the shadow box that was in the same live when the door fell off, because the whole front of the door fell off. It was, in all fairness to the shadow box, it was up on the shelf in the top left hand corner. It got moved down to there, then got moved back up, and then it got moved down to here. And all that happened was a door that fell off. So it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Vehicles. Well, yeah, I might as well move all the vehicles now. Got to figure out what we're going to do with that wing. I think the wing might go right up at the top. wing at the top, and then the set underneath. In fact, there's a little screw mark in there already, so we might be lucky with that. Now with these vehicles, because we've got the bikes and stuff, I've got ideas, and I just don't know which is the best one. But for now, we will just park these all round here. But I don't know if we're going to have a garage like they had at the Warner Brothers tour, or we have a garage and something else, or we do something else which involves smaller shelves up on that wall with the vehicles parked. Because, for example, when you put that against that, is that going to be too small? Is that going to work? Do you have them up that way, or do you have them going up? Or do you just have the... It's a shame I got rid of all the box artwork, because if I kept the box artwork, or just the boxes, shall I say, I could have had them on the wall. If I could find the instruction manuals, which, again, is going to be harder said than done, that again could be doable. So that is there, that is there, that is all of them. So we are good with this. You can see why I do it as a time lapse now, although it just takes far too long. But like I said, this is only supposed to be in rough. All of those pieces there, all of those there, live there. That is part of this, that just lives on there like it's so. Magic. So that doesn't roll away, that is on there, that's safe and sound. That car will be there no matter what. So hopefully you can see that on there. So right, that is that corner done. Now the big question is, what do I put in that gap? That's going to be quite difficult, so we're going to have to measure that with stuff. Got plenty of base plates. Let's measure it some base plates, I think. So we'll get you there. They're the row plates, so that could work. That's just a random base plate. That's got to be about a base plate and a half, I think. About a base plate and a half. Just use that one for scale. Yes it is. So we have a base plate and a half. So potentially that's the museum then, because that is a base plate and a half, and I don't know if the museum would work that close to there. This bit's going to be the tricky bit, because obviously it's wider, but the nice thing is that because that's so tall, we're not going to cover it. And we need to leave a path going into the next section, which will obviously now be a step or a lift or something like that, because obviously all of this isn't actually going to be on this table, and that's all moving anyway. Now obviously we have an end unit, so the bank, I am just making this up as I go. I'm not actually thinking about this too much. So the bank is an end unit, or corner unit shall I say, so that makes sense. The bank is coming in now, so that would be potentially there. What else are we missing? What else are we missing? Oh, jazz club. Oh, that looks smart. Full base plate, police station, pet shop, jazz club, bank. Do you put the pet shop, or do you put the pet shop by the bank and then have the jazz club beside it? Again, we've got options, but I think you guys and girls can see. Just there, so that's fine. Now, of course, obviously, the other option is Arkham Asylum, or something goes in that base plate and a half. So that there is an option there, but we get that level, that pushback, and that pushback. That is our little Gotham Street. So far, so good. Looks lost against that wall, doesn't it? But it will all start to fill out. One more, the Jazz Club. Oh, I think that might, I don't know, did we put the Jazz Club beside Gotham? Because what I like about this is how that police station is, because you've got that little Easter egg just here. I say this all the time, soaps and suds, and then on the side Soaps and Suds. So this came out multiple years beforehand. This is the obviously the naughty set where you can steal all the money from the bank, and it gives it away later on. I don't think the pet shop looks too bad there. So do we add the red and the blue in the middle for a little bit of colour, or do I don't know, because no, I'll split it, because otherwise we're gonna have too much tan, and I want each individual building to stand out. So I think we'll go Palace, Jazz Club, Police Station, Pet Shop, Bank for now. For now, that's the thought process behind this, as I now try not to break my neck. Definitely don't want to ruin my lunch, which is that. If you can see white in my trousers, which I bet you can somewhere, yes, there, I have ripped these fully front to back, but they have mesh in them, and I have shorts on underneath. So do not panic yourselves. It might be a bit airy, but they are fine. Nothing is gonna fall out, so you don't have to worry about that too much. So this is Poison Ivy, basically. This is the Easter egg for this. So the reason why we're doing the Jazz Club is because of different bits and pieces that happen within that series, but at the same time, the Jazz Club is also spot on for Poison Ivy. So we can have the Palace. I will more than likely be swapping these over when you guys and girls say something. But that is there, that is there, that is there. Now, I have just spotted an issue. I bet you guys and girls have spotted the issue as well. There's an issue. Issue. Joker Manor. Ah, there's not. Is there a base plate and a half space? Hang on. Now, Joker Manor won't fit side on here because it's not deep enough. I know that for a fact. Oh, there's not. I think we could make that fit though. We could get the museum on there as well. This is why I do it. Why? Oh, it looks so clean. Yeah, that looks really nice. I like the yellow beside the I like the little tailors beside the pink, then it goes in. So just like that, for example, with photos and stuff, because you've got the bright beside the bright and you've got the dingy beside the dingy. And I like the fact that it's got almost like two bookends, because you've got a corner and a corner, which works well. The museum itself, which is this olive colour, that would have to go right in the middle, wouldn't it? So we had 1 unit, 2 unit. Yeah, because I guess you would have the, even though the yellow and the pink look really nice side by side, you could have the Jazz Club on the left and the police station on the right, because it's the only olive green, so it should look quite nice. And it's got a lot of flowers on, because obviously this is all the flowers on the side of the police station, and we could have used that as the Poison Ivy type thing, with the hearse stood just up at the top. Now, I wanted to be really creative and stupid with this at the same time. I don't know if I could raise that city up, have a floating city and put a train track underneath it, which wouldn't be that difficult to do in hindsight, because if you think like the city itself would probably start where that broken brick is, and the artwork would be there, and then the wing would be up top, and then underneath it we could have a train track, or the train track just goes in front of it, which again would be easy enough to do. Now the only problem is it's off centre. Like, I don't really think that matters too much. It would be nice if that was shifted over, or it stayed where it was, and then the Joker fitted in that corner. Just don't know if we put a train track there, we do something really fancy with the wall with regards to more colour and other bits and pieces, which could look very, very nice with spotlights and things, maybe. Or we get some small lac shelving and put the cars on there and try and get the lac. We can get yellow lac shelving and have the spotlights. But I just don't know if that's going to take it away from the Batman artwork. But as this stands right now, obviously we have got this amount of space, like so. So we could just have the cars and stuff parked in front of it, and we could just have a load of characters and figures walking around. And obviously I think it looks better as a run. I think we always say that because we've got this over here, and obviously we've got the backdrop of Gotham with the theme park ride. The other option we do is, rather than trying to have the two big sets as the bookends, we obviously have the Batman as a bookend. The palace just starts in the corner. We raise that table up, so we'll have to raise that table up, but we put the Joker in the middle, and then basically what's left, we tuck the city inwards as an L shape. Because we can't have the Joker. We can't. I don't think it'll work. I don't think we can have the Joker beside the shadow box. But this is what we're trying. Very, very trying person I am. Testing everybody's patience. So obviously this set, as I've got half the pieces in my mouth, is the ride for this section. So obviously each zone in this theme park has different stuff, and this is the ride. So I don't know if we hide the ride in plain sight, which in the middle could look nice, because of course the other option is it literally goes like that. Which I don't think it looks, actually, I don't think it looks too bad. I don't know how much you can see apart from my bum. So we have basically created Wayne Manor, haven't we? Because you've got Wayne Manor in front of the shadow box. And you could go, you can actually physically go through. So you can just have characters walking up the stairs, walking straight through. They could use the roller coaster track, and then behind it, they've got that. We could potentially angle it a little bit better, so it could. The problem is if I push it back like so, you're sort of really leaning in to see the detail on that, but you could get away with it. I know, we're not going to close a shadow box, but this is the only time, I think, if we put this in a different place, you could actually put the Joker Manor on top of the shadow box. And you have it shut. Option. It's an option. That's why I'm doing this now, because I'll hopefully be reading your comments tomorrow and then chopping and changing like that in front of the red. Just don't know if we have the Joker like that as an area, because again we could get Arkham Asylum in that on this side as well. So we could have the street on the Calyx. Would have to be very clever with what modulars we use though. So if, say for example, I ever came across the town hall, for example, which I don't think that's ever going to happen, but there is obviously third parties that do it now, which I know is naughty, but there is third parties that could potentially just go in the middle. We could pull out something, and then that something could go out in the display. But over this side, look, I really can't see. I can't really see that happening, to be honest. We've got. I think we could get the museum in place with that strip and nothing else, and then rearrange that with Arkham Asylum, and that is everything underneath. But we have got options, because the two options are the Joker is the bit for the shadow box, and that table is basically the whole ride, and this is your theming up to the ride, because some rides are obviously absolutely massive. Google image the haunted house in Disney, and the actual haunted house bit is tiny, and the ride is like the equivalent of this table, but the actual haunted house bit that you queue up for is only the size of that base plate, and that is the equivalent on Google Maps. It's just enormous, absolutely enormous. Right, I'll do it with you now. Let me just move these over and just see what this looks like. I think if I just moved the palace over and took the pet store out, we could potentially get the Joker bit on the inside. So I said about just seeing if we could do it perfectly like that. That there. It's not exactly the most perfect thing, but obviously it will be packed in a little bit more because the table will be up, but I just can't physically do it. The track's deceiving. Oh no, it's massive. It takes the rest of that table up. So hopefully now, with me putting this on the Kallax, you guys and girls understand just how big this thing is. That does look nice there. Smack in the middle underneath the artwork. Dunno. Because to get that to fit, I'd have to take another base plate out. So that would be Gotham PD gone. And then Gotham could then relocate over to here. So it's basically like that. So we have just had 2 modulars, the manor. We would then be able to get 2 more modulars, so we would probably we'd have to have the Gotham police station and the bank side by side, and then cut the museum in. But the museum and the pet shop would be side by side, and then that just randomly leads into the shadow box. But I just don't know if it makes sense now splitting the Joker. Because it's Wayne Manor, so I don't know if it makes sense splitting that up. And if we did that, we can't really make Arkham Asylum work. But it works there, but I just don't know if it works better at the other place. So they are our 2 options. So that is obviously option number 2, and you've seen what option number 1 looks like. I will put it back to, don't know. What I do is I'm just going to leave that because it's all going to get moved tomorrow. So I will leave that, I say all moved. I'm going to raise the table up and I'm going to get that done. I forgot to take the masking tape off, didn't I? Got far too carried away, so I've got to take the masking tape off anyway. Shutter box is good. Pet shop just needs to come over, but we've now got this table free, so I can now start moving bits and pieces off the floor onto here, so we'll be good. So the next thing we'll focus on is the Jurassic Park, because we want to get that over to this side, but then I've got to take the pieces off and tidy those up. But like I said, I want this to look absolutely spot on. Do I leave it like that, or do I put it back? I'm gonna put it back, I think. I'm going to put it back and just have the other modulars in so it's together, or do I just, I don't know, I'm lost now. I am lost because that would go like that. That fits in like that. So does that flow Or does that look weird? Because now the problem we've got is if the museum goes here, which will fit because it's a base plate. It's a base plate and a half. We like problems. We could do that. So you're not really going to see the front of the pet shop because it's quite big inside on. And then we've got the little walkway through, and then you've just got a random shadow box behind. I just don't think it's going to flow as well. Whereas you walk through the entrance of the fascia of a ride, you can do the ride, and then you can go around basically what is a car museum and a walk-through attraction at the same time. It's a double whammy. That's how you would do it at a theme park, surely. Yeah, I think the first way we did it by mistake looks better. Because we could have that way, because all the characters then on the roofs, we could have a load of Easter eggs underneath the new set. So I have got a couple of different figures. I have got a Mr. Freeze somewhere. It's in one of those bags somewhere, and a couple of the other characters and villains from DC, so we can have them up on top of the rooftops like we've started to do on this section. But there is loads and loads to do. But like I said, I want to make this very, very special if I can. I suppose the other thing that I really need to do is actually get the museum built, because without that, it's going to be a bit of a pain in the backside. Right, I'm going to think of this. I'm going to turn the camera off and grab a drink and then just pick some bits and pieces up off the floor. And then I'll catch back up with you later on today. Right, I'm in the process of having some rocket fuel, which always helps. So I have moved it back because I really do think that is the best looking way so far. Like I said, we will add in the museum and we can add in Arkham Asylum somewhere. Now, there is also options that we be greedy and mirror our Marvel DC, because it's on a curve. So we could use this table. And then this table is standalone for Ninjago, because this table is going to be Ninjago. I've not mentioned that yet. This is going to be a completely different upload because like I said, fell through the table. Oh, maybe. See, told you, didn't lie. Fell through the table, and yeah, all the sets are now in the box. So the Ninjago would basically have like a Harry Potter Diagon Alley feel, and the boat that is on the floor, which I've already knocked, is going to go back on the table and live in the middle. So the point of that was so it doesn't get damaged. I've damaged it already. Splendid. So this table just moves forward and backwards, and then I can build the Ninjago up in different locations and build this area up over a period of time. So really, when the Jurassic Park stuff comes off, we have got space to extend Gotham if we need to, because we could potentially just have another run of modulars across the back and then just have some more bits and pieces in front, because it's what we've done. It's what we've done over here. Or this table could just be other DC stuff. We could have more of a begins with an M. I said it before, I've forgotten. The Superman place, which is annoying. So we could have some of those on that table and have a very much of a DC curve, which would be nice. Split up between the two of the Ninjago, and then we've got our mythical stuff on the side. So there's options. There is options for that. But I know how much more work's involved in this upload just for Gotham, because I've got to raise the table up and I've got to move these bits and pieces off. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to move these bits and pieces very quickly, just get them out the way, because I know this upload's already massive, because I've already edited the first bit together, and this Gotham segment's already at least half an hour. So rather than it being like another 3-hour upload like they tend to get, I just want to get the Gotham in, get that table level, and I want to get the museum built. Now, so that's going to take time. So I'd rather get the museum started, get it in and get it on, and then we can have a play with that. And then in the next upload will then just be our mythical bit. But obviously I do want to tidy up the Marvel bits and pieces as well. So if I now just focus on, God, that rain. This end and this end, like we have been doing, is this what the two-part special is all about? It's all about Marvel and DC. And then we can then just carry on with this, because this was just a bonus because the paint was drying. But I have to get that table up, which it now clearly has to go. Yeah, it's annoying because it has to go up just to give me a couple of studs space for the base plate and a half, because you can see I am off, if I get that right to the edge, I'm off by 6 studs. There's a little bit of a gap there, so I'm off by about 6. So those 6 studs could overhang the back, which would tuck just where the Joker bit is. Could be the corner of the bank. It's basically that path. That's what it's going to overhang by. But I think it makes sense having it level. But if I do that, I've then got to raise the other table up as well. But to raise it up, I've got to take the shadow box back off. I've got to take the Joker Manor back off. I've got to take everything off this table, pull this table out the way, pull this table out the way, get underneath that table with nothing else on it, lie on my back, raise the table up, get the wood underneath, and then just hope for the best. So I think that's what we're going to achieve. We're going to get that done in this upload now. We're going to get the museum as built as possible, even if it's just the first level, just so we can actually see what it's going to look like. And then just tidy up around here, because I want to show this a little bit of love with regards to where the smaller bits and pieces are going to go, and then get some of the road plates down. So we are not now going to be focusing on this side. That's now going to have to be a different upload, which I know you guys and girls are looking forward to, but it will be the weekend after D&D gets released. So it kind of makes sense me planning that. And that weekend's going to be very, very busy. So we'll be doing a live stream with Jay's Toy Collection UK for WrestleMania, which will be exciting. And we're going to Toy Fair as well. So that is going to be no sleep for wake up Saturday morning, go to bed Monday night. Yes. Right, focus. Get this moved, get that moved, get that raised up, and then start to get that built in some sort of order. Well, that was a lot harder than what it needs to be, but it's done. So that one tail's level, and I didn't even know I still had this. The block of cheese is there. So that is one of the internal box artwork. That's actually the instruction case. Look at the size of that thing. So potentially might be able to use that as something for the Star Wars section. If not, straight into the recycling pile. So I thought I pulled all the box and everything out from that. So now that was level. It is spot on. I'll try and close the gaps up and try and level it off, but it's obviously very, very difficult because they're all the boxes underneath. I don't just randomly keep them for the comparison videos that I do. So it's always nice to look back at the older artwork and I try and hold on to them, but it will get to the point of where I just have to recycle everything and basically start again. But that is a different day, a different problem. So a new problem has occurred because all of this is now moved and I need to move all of this onto this table. But this upload is going to be a week, literally a week long if I do that in this upload. So now I'm now going to run 2 videos parallel from each other. So this stuff might just randomly disappear and I won't say anything about it in this upload, but it will be happening in the next upload. So you're going to have to bear with me on that one because this is the main focus point for this video, and then obviously this is all going to be for Dungeons and Dragons. So under the Dungeons and Dragons title, all of this will be sorted out and it's going to be another long video. Otherwise this video probably would be easily over the 3-hour mark if I didn't split it up. But all of this does need to be moved. So I will start the new video moving this, but I need to carry on with this video moving all of this back, which I'm obviously not going to do as another time lapse for you. I just want to get it in there and then we'll get a base plate on just to see how it lines up. That will then lead us on to me having to make up the, obviously the museum, which was absolutely fine. And then tomorrow, it will be a case of adding in maybe some minifigures, some vehicles and that kind of thing. Then later on in the week, adding in the museum. Whereas, like I said, I'll get the bigger stuff done in a different upload. So if I'm turning around like this and all of a sudden the stuff behind me that has appeared, it'll be an Easter egg for what's to come in the next upload. So keep your eyes peeled for that. So that is fair warning. So I will get all of this put back now, and then we'll carry on wherever we end up with this upload. So nothing has changed over there, but a lot has changed where I'm stood. Now, I have just spent quite a long time picking up loads of pieces, still loads of pieces on the floor. It was a lot. I'm still going and going and going, but I'm kind of running out of little storage bits, and the main storage bin is obviously in there. And until I've moved this, I can't pull that and pick up the rest. But we have a floor again, because this is a nice walkway. Now I can't hoover the thing until the rest of the pieces are picked up, but then it'd be nice and clean, which is ideal. And then, like I said, we can get underneath the tables, put all the stuff that's in the tables into the storage boxes. I put those boxes together. Some of them are to be built and some of them are the repaired bits, and all of a sudden it just opens it up massively. Because Disney box, for example, is huge, and we've got one or two of those on the floor. A lot gets hidden underneath. Now, like I said, we're ignoring all of this, but that might start changing in the background, but we're just going to pretend that does not exist. There's not really too much more I can do with this today. We have, well, I say we, I've just started to mess around with those roads and see what it looks like, but it does put those modulars at a big angle. But I'm not going to put the rest of them in until the museum's in and we've got them in the right place. So I can't do too much more with that. Joker's happy. The shadow box is happy back in there, and obviously we've got this huge gap and there's no overhang whatsoever. So that is now looking quite nice. Now I do need to mess around with the yellow. So what I think I am going to do is, because I have come across the tile bag, which is this bit here, because I think why I think about it, that will be the next thing to do, because I think I'm going to have to order quite a lot of yellow tiles for the strip of New York. I did say in one of the uploads, where does this New York finish, and do we just stop, does the road stop here and then we carry on with a footpath within this bit? Because this bit as it stands, minus probably the Guardian ship and the broken Ninjago pieces that I've put all together that need to go back with an Ninjago box, which again is in that backing, I can't do too much with those, I can't move them, but these are there or thereabouts in and done. I just need to mess around with those. Obviously we've got the trucks that we'll be having a bit of a play with. This table now is a spare table as it stands, which is great. And then obviously this table will become free as well. So I will have the two tables. So over this upload, all of this Marvel section will be finished and we will have a nice space in the middle. So I want to have a look at these yellow tiles, see if I can actually do anything with that backdrop. And actually make the shadow box yellow, well, the backdrop out of yellow, because I think that would look quite smart. And then really, until I then sit down and start building the museum, I can't do anything with that, and there's nothing to come. Obviously in this upload it's not going to have the artwork on, because this is coming out this Saturday and then the artwork comes out on that Monday. So we are a week ahead at the moment. So we're doing good, but let me find these pieces and see what we can do. So that idea is a swing and a miss. I don't have enough tiles, so I can't do it, but it is what it is. Now, I do have a bright yellow Lego bag. Now, I was going to cut that up and drop it behind it. It's too creased and it's going to look rubbish. So I might as well just get a little bit of foam, nice and simple, slip it behind the back and it's done. And then if it moves somewhere else, we can just keep it pinned to the back of it and just cheat either a little bit of foam or bright yellow sort of paper, which I think would look smart, to be honest. I think it would do the trick with that, with a nice bit. So what I'm now going to do is I need to figure out exactly where I am going to be going next, because I might be stuck for a day or two with the Gotham project, so I could actually just start now with this project and utilize my time moving this, and then this will be the stuff that you're going to see in the next upload. See, it gets very, very confusing. Or I just get the museum built, because we've got quite a lot to do with this back wall over a period of time, and I do obviously need to get that museum done, and it's a big project as well. So I was going to just try and do it little bit by little bit in the evenings, but it's starting to get very, very cold in here. So outside is a really horrible cold wind. Luckily That's fine. That's all dried perfectly, so we're happy with that. So I did that at the right time, so it was worth going to bed very, very late last night to get the colour on that wall. So I am going to decide what I'm going to get up to, and then I will catch back up with you either later on today or tomorrow. So today is a new day and we have lots of new ideas. I've been bouncing around loads of ideas with Jay's Toy Collection UK last night about what we can do with this downtown display, and we have got some corking ideas. So keep your eyes peeled for his arts and crafts skills for what's to come on this back wall. But for right now, it is all going to be about backdrops and base plates, because when I was driving back last night, I think, and it does, that I have that little base plate there that will fit in front, and I think I've got enough of them to do the strip in front of it, so we can actually get this bit completed, which is great. Then I think I've also got enough base plates for a table. I think I've got 6 or 8 of those base plates somewhere. I think there's 2 more in a pile. I can put them down on that table, and then all underneath the Joker and the Batman, it will be tiled. So that will be fully done with regards to the base plates, and that'll be tiled, and then obviously we can then mess around with how we want to do that. Thought about that because we have got all of these ropes wrapping round. So these are the base plates that we've already made. That's fine, I can just take them off, and also I can buy more of these. So rather than just changing all of this to yellow, the other reason why I wanted to do it is because this is all nice and smooth, and this one is all made up completely differently of individual pieces, which I do have, and I have just put them somewhere, the full tub. There they are, the full tub of them there, so I can carry on making all of that all around the shadow box, which I think will give that nice effect if we're going to park the Batmobiles and all that kind of thing on there. But that kind of leaves a problem that might need a solution, which you might already have, because that sounds a little bit weird. We've done this, which I think looks beautiful, and it wraps round. Now we can pull Aunt May's house forward so we don't have that gap, that's fine. I don't think we can get a base plate underneath the coaster, because if we raise it up, it's going to hit the shelf, which means all of this will have to stay flat up until the Daily Bugle. But I think this section, because it's all very, very weird and wonderful shapes, especially with the carousel, and then we've got these little shapes here, and obviously we've got all the different fairground stuff. If this whole table just got base plated, and then we stacked everything back on top of it, so it just sat on there, and then obviously we tiled the base plate, so that would just be a little bit easier. I just hope that will look all right, because I know a lot of people either cut them to fit, but I've got so many different shapes and we move it all the time, I don't know if that's going to be a feasible thing to do. Whereas if I just get a load of like greys or greens for this section, plonk everything on top of it, and then obviously just tile everything, I think that would be the best thing to do. So I need to pull out, I think, to start with, all of these that we use as a standard, just as a spacer, get them in front of there. I've also, I'm on bag 10 of the museum as well, so I can bring that up very, very quickly and put that where the tub of paint is, just to see obviously what that looks like. And also, thanks to Jay's Toy Collection UK, we have had a nice bit of foam donated as well. So there's one bit of foam that will go just behind there, and it'll give us that nice effect of the Batman symbol, which is obviously the spotlight up on the main animated series. So that's going to look really, really smart. Got to figure out the best way to do that. I don't know whether to stick it to the wall or stick it to the back of the actual set. It's teeny tiny little bit too small, I think, because it's surprising how big that is, but there's no point trying to cut a little bit extra on, because you're going to have that overlap. So we can figure out something with that. So I am now, I think, just going to quickly run backwards and forwards. I'll turn you off, run backwards and forwards, just get those base plates down from underneath here, and then we can figure out exactly, or see, should I say, exactly what it's going to look like. Because I just hope that I did all of these in a straight line and didn't add any corners in. Because if I added some corners in, we're going to be in trouble, because I'm going to have to change it all. But keep your fingers crossed that we have enough and they're straight. The first bit is done. I think that looks quite nice. We can obviously add all the vehicles and stuff in this upload. I'm going to put the Batmobiles just on there for now, I think. Maybe just some of the skinnier ones, and just see what else we can do. I will run down in a second and get the museum, and I think I'm going to put it in between the police station. I think I've only built the first 8 bags, so we're not going to get the height, but I think it just makes sense having it smack in the middle, and then at least we can see how far over I can go with regards to then putting the next lot of base plates in. Now, wish me luck on the next lot of base plates, because I've been using these for my minifigure pieces, and we've got all of these tiles on here, and all of these other bits of road and all this kind of stuff. So all of this now has to come off. So I've got to take every single one of these off individually, put them back in their individual bags, which are in here, which is really going to hurt my fingers, because obviously you can't use a brick separator on the tiles anyway, because you've obviously got no studs on, obviously. Then both of those come off, base plates go down, they go back on, and then we see what it looks like. But before I start that monstrosity, I will run and grab the History Museum very quickly, just for space, and then we can see what's what. Right, I'm going to go for it now, and if I go live later on, it will be something to do over there, because I've just thought, well, if I do this, it's going to spoil part number 2, isn't it, idiot? Now, proper thought process now, because do we add in these little things on the road, just dotted around in front of Gotham? I parked the 2 bikes in front of the palace, and I've got the classic in front of Gotham. The spotlight is on the roof up here, so we can have that on top of the police station. And this thing is glow in the dark as well, which is pretty cool. Then we will have a display up at the top of all of these sort of characters and things like that, and I'll get rid of the ones that aren't anything to do with. Now, this thing, I think, would look quite nice up on the wall. Now, there is a hook randomly right in the middle. I've just spotted it there. Look at that, first time. Now, I am one day going to break my neck on that. Look, see, one day. That's what that looks like. That looks quite nice, actually. Actually, can I just open his flap up? Now, the big question is, big question. I think that's the right height, you know. But there's only 2 bricks. If that goes any higher, I think that looks a bit weird. And then that way, the skyline is smack in the middle. Because just by fluke, and that is by fluke, the screw is smack in the middle of that wall. And that black doesn't half pop against that red. So the plan of attack was potentially, like I think I said in part number 1, to give a bit of an Easter egg, is I could put black, no, it wouldn't work with black, yellow lac shelving, small ones, the same size as that car, up on the wall. Or just have them up on the wall and do whatever. But it's 3, I suppose that's something that we need to do, is obviously this is all in preparation for it. I need to stick 3 base plates together before I get carried away, and maybe see what the 3 base plates look like underneath that, because I think what we can do is just get, because the drawstring is going to be right in the way, obviously. I can envision that. I think that's going to look really smart, because we ideally want the Batman from the actual set probably directly underneath here, and this is the start of it just happens to be that this brick, the brick underneath, is where it really starts to get nice and wide, whereas I don't know if it would be too tight on that brick anyway. So I will get 3 base plates. Taking a quick turn then, I just went to have a think, bit of rocket fuel. I'm doing everything I can now, not take those tiles off. Right, I'll try and keep this pace going, because so far so good, I think, with regards to that. Let me get some more light. I've got to sort these lights out, because they don't do the whole room, but there, that looks all right, I think. Yeah, let's give it a go. So there is 3 base plates stuck together, but I am going to have to get a little bit creative with this, because the paint is too soft. Obviously, it only went on properly yesterday. That's going to need a good few days. until anything goes on there. Like I said, it's just luck that there was a screw there. I can't stick anything, blue tack, tape, nothing to it. I was hoping that the screw would hold the base plate. There's another screw in the wall which you can't see because I painted it over in red, and it won't hold it. And there's no other screw holes in there because this wall had different bits on it way back when. And there's nothing there. There's a wall plug there, but that's too low. So visually looking at that, I'm thinking we have one brick, then the next brick down is where the Batman bit starts. So we would have to be we'd have to basically need to count how many bricks deep it is and then get it smack in the middle of that wall. That's the easiest way of doing it, because I'm not going to be able to do it because the base plates bend if I need to basically take the front and back of those base plates, but I don't want to take the front of it because I'm going to spend forever getting off. 2 hands, go straight on, and it stays flat, nice and easy, nice and simple. I basically need 3 or 4 pairs of hands for this, but I've also got nowhere to stand, so I can't just do that with the... I'm being a bit stupid. If I do that, let go of you, that might be more sensible, and do this. This is what we could do. So I'm thinking maybe there. So it's like 1, 2 and a bit. Obviously I'll measure it, but 2 and a bit. Think that is centre of the wall, going by the brick count. And then we have the Batman above. So if I stand to the side, hopefully you can see. So where this is would be where the city is. Or we can make it higher. But if we make it higher, then that's going to have to go up another brick. But I think this lower, with the Batman above it, and then the Batwing above that, I think would look visually very nice, and it would be low enough that you kind of get the gist of we've got the city in front of it. So I think if it's up high, when I'm sort of talking like this, I don't know what you can see. I think it's that middle bit that you can see. I don't think you can see too low. I don't think you can see too high. Obviously I haven't got a camera on the front of this, so it's a bit difficult to see. But that is the plan of attack for that. So I'm going to get a little bit more creative and mark that out properly. That will be done at some point in this upload. But now I need to attack this, find the rest of the DC characters. I've already just found a Superman, so I've just put him up at the top. Start putting all the characters, everything up at the top, and basically get this as good to go as possible for obviously this new animated set. And yeah, just see what we can do. And then I have also pulled out these. Now this is annoying, so I've got some to buy money, which I'm going to need when I go in a couple of weeks, 5 weeks from today I think. These picture frames, these are perfect, they're all complete apart from the word damage when I pick them up, which is a little bit of a shame. I don't know if they'll fit either corner of the Disney castle, because I've got again already in there, one there and one there. I just don't know if I could just have the minifigures behind the trees and behind the Disney, because obviously it's now Disney property, and just not have them walking around, and I have a complete full set on the wall. So there is that to think about. Like I said, it's backdrops and base plates. That's what this section of this video is all about. But talking of base plates, I need to get those down. Well, that was painful and emotional, but it is done. to a degree. So all those pieces are off. They're going to get sorted in that problems upload. We don't have to worry about doing a time lapse to put that away. That'll be when we sort out the Rivendell and move the Jurassic Park stuff over. So obviously, as you saw, the door fell off again, so that is definitely going to be repaired today. I've got another video to do while it's rendering. I can just get that repaired and it's fixed. I've got the booklet to the side, but I've got a bad feeling it might be booklet number 4, not 3. Right, awkward shape, but could work in our favour because this is base plate number 4. And they are 2 base plates deep, and we have got this path all the way down. Now, potentially, that could be our divide if this table does not continue to be DC. If it does continue to be DC, and we want to add in a load of colour, I am hoping, I've not tried it, I am hoping, there we go, use this, that should, yes it does, tiny bit of an overhang, but it is what it is. I can just get some of those and go across. Now obviously, if it is going to be carrying on to DC or anything else, we could just not have anything on that corner of the table, or just stick a smaller base plate down, which is fine. And then obviously we can then marry up these 32 by 32 studs just here, and it won't be overhanging because this table will be raised up, and then that'll be this go straight into the next bit. So we could actually have a line divide, and even if we do go into DC, it could just be a different colour. Now that is all safe and sound. That is obviously the foam that is going to go behind there. There's no point me sticking it on there until it is repaired. But for the sake of this upload, I will prop it up at the back and finish it with that propped up, but not repaired. Some of the bits and pieces in and ready, and then I will, got an idea with this. I'm going to let you in on my idea because you're going to see it in a second anyway. There are 2 screws in the wall. Screw number 1, screw number 2. I'm going to get some garden string or fish wire, wrap it round. Then I'm going to get some paper and some pegs and clip it, which that way nothing's touching the wall, which is perfect. And then we will have our sizing for the actual thing. Now those screws aren't quite going to be perfect because that one is a little bit more over than that one, but I can obviously just have it over a little bit. So I'm either going to cut this Lego bag up, to be found, not if it's got any holes at the bottom I will do, and then we can just use that as spacing. If not, I'm just going to get an old newspaper and just cut it 2, 3 base plates big. Worst case or best case, if that will take the weight with the string, I will just peg those 3 base plates on the wall and it'll be done. So it gives us the idea. Obviously we know the width, it's just the height, and I thought with the string I'll be able to drop it down, and then that can just stay up there, and then you guys and girls can let me know. Because like I said, this is going live the Saturday before Easter Monday, and we are the Sunday before the video goes live. So we are 6 days out. We've nearly finished this one, and then I'm going to tuck into tidying some bits and pieces up and doing some other bits and bobs. So we are nearly coming to an end of this upload, which hopefully you guys and girls, well, I bet you're very thankful for, to say the least. But I do need to get that Joker Manor back in. So let me just pick this Joker Manor back up. We'll spin that back round. Like I said, I am going to be repairing the shadow box, but let's get this back in. It's a lot harder with the base plates to put the stuff down, so I think what I'm going to have to do is actually stick the base plates to the table, because these base plates slide properly slide. So that is like that, something along those lines. Obviously it'll be angled a little bit better and twisted around a little bit better, but yes, we have got space in there somewhere for some cars, and I'd probably imagine Arkham Asylum, because obviously that is something that this could be. We could just have all of a sudden go from this sort of grimy, dingy feel, which is obviously what this is supposed to be, even though it's quite a really nice, powerful colour. You've got the bright buildings, dark roads. We could make an Arkham with a nice bit of greenery in front of it, and then just have one of the buildings there, and we could have that as a backdrop, and then we could have another thing beside it, and then we can have some smaller buildings in front. It doesn't necessarily have to be the modulars, so it could be anything DC related. We could create the ice bit for Superman and a Mr. Freeze crossover. So there's stuff that we can do to add a little bit of colour into this, but I don't think it looks too dark. and I think the colours pop against the other colours anyway. So let's just get this angled to where I think it will live. And yeah, we've just got to think of what we're going to do with that divide. And talking of divides, let me get this in, because there's a lot going on. I brought that forward. Hey Pumpkin, come on. Hello darling. Here she is. If I brought that forward, she's like, oh my days, there's space. Well, there was space, but I've just put all that on the floor again, so you're going to have to explore. There or thereabouts, like that. And then we've got a bit more space in here. So we can put something here, and you would have seen that this is obviously the full base plate. This is something that I'm going to have to figure out and cut to fit, I think. Just because it's just off by a couple of studs. It is what it is. It just happens to be the calyx in the table isn't perfectly a 32 by 32 base plate, which is an absolute shamble. So we're going to meet it in the middle, so we're off there ever so slightly. And this is the other thing that I was going to say, is this space, that white on that table, I can't put a 32 by 32 base plate underneath there because it comes in too far now, because we were saying it's only going to be a couple of studs. It's not, and it really bows this all the way back up, so that's not quite going to work. But I could push this further over. I will have a bit of a play with it off camera, and then I'll get the string up on the wall, and then I will get that thing cut to fit. And I think that is this section completely done. And then you're just gonna have to keep your eyes peeled, because I will make sure that that set is complete, and we will install that set and the art set on the same upload, which will complete this section. So I don't think we've done too bad. And then it's just a quick tidy of the Marvel bits and pieces, and then figure out what we're going to do with the base plates, as she's going to have an explore now. So as she's exploring, I will grab some string, move that, and then catch back up with you. So it is now time for the arts and crafts section. The string, if you can see, is already up. I've already got the string round, I've got the pegs ready, so they will be pegged up. I've got some scissors ready, and I'm just going to cut up that Lego bag. So I've just got to measure it straight over, down, easy enough. But look how nice this looks. So I think this looks absolutely fantastic. So again, massive thanks to Jay's Toy Collection UK for the use of the foam. Yeah, that just works very, very well. And Jay picked the colour as well. He was umming and ahhing between the orange and the yellow, and I think he's nailed it on the head with that yellow, because the yellow against the black, I think, works very, very nice indeed. And you can just get the understanding of just how big that is. So it saves me painting it, and I can just tweak it ever so slightly so it hide the white a little bit, and then we'll be good to go. But next thing we need to do is get this thing measured up here. So the string is up, like I said, the pegs are there. I've got the scissors at the ready, so I will turn you off, cut that thing rough, peg it up, and then we'll see what we're like for space and sizing. Right, I've done a thing that actually makes my life easier, which is a first, I think. So I've used a string, and I've actually just pegged it for the width, so it's easy enough. So between the blue and the yellow is exactly 30 inches. That is the width of that set. As it stands right now, the top of that string is the top of the very, very top of the letter. So it'll be the top of the letter, not the bottom. Top of the letter to the bottom of the frame, because the set is 17 inches. So 17 inches is there on the tape measure, which is that line. So as it stands right now, the bottom of the frame would be one brick above the modular. Now, obviously, if you look between that, or just start to count the bricks, we could bring the frame up a whole brick, potentially another brick. But if we did that, that would be very, very tight up at the top, and I think it'd be a little bit too close. Because as it stands right now, that is the gap from there to the there is where the top of that letter is going to be. So that red here would actually be on show. So I think that's probably enough space between the two. It just depends if we need to move it up ever so slightly for the bottom of the frame. But as I think the museum is the same height as everything else, so we would have basically a brick on show across the bottom, and then we'd have the frame coming all the way down from the yellow down, across, and then up. So it is a big set. So it's, yeah, 30 inches wide, 17 inches deep, or if you want to do it the other way around, it's what, 43 inches, 43 centimeters down. But that is how that is going to be, and I think it would be better if we kept the small one up top. I have got the UCS one, but I think that might be, well, for a start, it wouldn't fit in that gap, because I think it's massive, but I think it might overpower the other bit, whereas that might be a bit more in proportion with the actual artwork for this wall. If you had a bigger wall, then obviously maybe a bigger one, but we could potentially swap it over or do something else different with it. But I think as it stands right now, there's nothing else I can really do now. I think we've got to that point of where we're waiting for the set to come out. That is what that looks like as the new display. So that's the whole display in one shot, and I think that works. I think that works out to be okay. So there's no point me messing around with that. Obviously this would have to come over half a brick. So it comes over half a brick that way to be in the middle. So it would have the middle of the writing, probably that line there, isn't it? Right in the tail, because this is smack in the center. So we would be using that brick is our central piece. So obviously it would come over ever so slightly if we wanted to be that pedantic about it and get it absolutely perfect. And then it's very much a case of maybe adding some bits and pieces on the outside, but with how big that is in the middle of that wall, it is very, very surprising how large that is. And I'm looking at that now going, is it really that deep? Right, I do have it on my phone, but I thought I was going mad because I've filmed this a couple of times, and I'm looking at that going, I'm saying it out loud, reading it off that, and it's not matching up on the tape measure. So I've just got another tape measure. 41 is 16. On the website it says 41 or 17. And it's the same thing on that tape measure. So it's either 16 inches deep or 17 inches deep, which is 41 centimeters or 43. So go for worst case scenario that they've got the inches wrong, or inches right, shall we say. So we are going from that bottom brick just here. But if it's only 41, which is 16, that's even better, because that is about halfway up that brick. So we really wouldn't have to move it from there, and I think that would work really, really nicely. So yes, I think my brain hurts from figuring all of that out. I've been sat on the floor rocking. I was almost thinking I have to cry myself again to sleep. But as a painting is, obviously I've got to jab in the little bits and pieces. It will be tidied up as much as I possibly can with regards to this before the set arrives. So like I said, we're a week out. The set as it stands at this filming gets released a week tomorrow in my time, but we are a week ahead in the filming time, obviously. Or the set will come out 48 hours after this gets uploaded or something nonsense like that. So there's not much more I can do with regards to this. So that is the last time you're going to be looking at that, and then we'll attack this again in a different upload. And then with regards to the Marvel stuff, there's no point me double shifting everything again, because we've got the bits and pieces in place. If this is all going to be base plated like we've just done with the Batman stuff, which does look very, very good, I've got to go off and get the base plates or get them ordered. So I might as well just get all of them ordered, pull them out, place them down, and just do a base plate thing. So I'll get this bit sorted at a later date, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And then I would imagine in another completely separate upload, we'll get all the base plates down like we've done with this, and then I can start to tile it and get it all neat and tidy, and then kind of figure out exactly what's going to be going on. But let us know if I have got the modulars right. Let me know what you think of those. If there's anything I should pull out, chop, change. The only one I'm really missing, the modern one, is the corner hotel, but that could potentially be used down here for something else. And obviously with the Marvel stuff over here, we've got all those bits and pieces in, and to be honest, it is staying as it is, because that's not going to move. None of them are going to move. We can get all the road plates in, we can make that all look neat and tidy, and we can have a good attack and a play with that, and it would probably make a really good live. Now it's all in situ and it's all done. So with that being said, I think that is it, and I am finally done. So if you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Again, comments below, let us know what you think. Are you excited for this new set to come out? Obviously, clearly I am, because I've repainted the whole wall and spent a long time doing all these bits and pieces. I think it's going to be hopefully a great looking set. Just got to get that in the center, get it nailed, and if it is going to be where it is on the tape measure, I don't have to move anything. So that is the string height, and I am happy with that height. I think that'll look nice. Worst case, like I said, move it up a brick, but you let me know where you think it'll be better placed, and obviously let me know about the UCS version of that as well. I say the UCS one, well, it is the big collector's edition of the Batwing, isn't it? It's the larger version. But I'm waffling as normal. So guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care, and I'll see you next one. Ta-da.